All right, guys. So today I have one of my very dear friends. His name is Dr. Darshan Shah. He is an extraordinary human being, okay? Just as a side note. But, you know, some people are usually a doctor or surgeon, actually, is usually enough, but not this guy. He is a serial successful entrepreneur, plus a plastic surgeon, plus, plus, plus. So we're going to get in and dive deep into who is Darshan Shah and all the different multifacets of you. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Jen. This is so fun.
Well, I hope you say that at the end of at the end of the interview, not even at the beginning. But
I will.
where to start? So, like I was saying to Darshan before, I don't even know. I call you Darshan, even though you're a doctor. Like,
You
is
should
it
always call me Darshan.
okay? I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep on saying Darshan. It'd feel kind of weird if I kept on saying like Doctor Shah, Doctor
Right.
Shah.
But that's not me. That's not my identity.
No, you
Yeah.
are. You're Darshan.
Exactly.
You are a Darshan. Okay, good. So let's start with the beginning of
Okay.
Darshan. Okay, so
Mhm.
like people, Darshan. I'll say this. Like currently, Darshan has something called Next Health, which has two locations in LA, and it is really like a very innovative way of like next generation of how to take care of yourself. And we're going to get into that in a few moments. But that's not where it began. So what I find super impressive about you, on a serious note,
Mhm.
is you have been doing tons of different businesses prior to this. You've become a plastic surgeon. You have like how many actual surgery centers do you have?
We have four.
You have four surgery
Mhm.
centers. So how did you start? Like, were you just always super entrepreneurial, always business oriented, and you like how did it?
No, not really. You know what happened was I became a doctor at a very young age. So I've been a doctor for a long time.
How young?
I was 21 when I graduated from medical school. Yeah, I did my first surgery when I was 21 years old. I was like a kid in the operating room doing surgery.
Are you kidding?
No,
Where'd you go to school? That they
University of Missouri, Kansas City. And I skipped a couple grades in grade school, high school, and then I went to this program that took me right after high school into this compressed 6 year program where basically it took away all vacation and you had no summer vacation, no
Oh
spring break,
wow.
and you just powered through med school for 6 years. And I graduated from that when I was 21 years old.
And so you became so what you went to you got your regular medical
Yep,
degree, and then you
MD.
also got you became a surgeon also
Right.
in that. So you were literally a surgeon at 21.
No, I was training in surgery at 21. I graduated med school at 21 and trained in surgery at 21.
And so you were operating on people at 20.
Right, exactly. Part
That's
of your
cr-
training.
that's crazy young.
Yeah, it was pretty young, and so what that gave me was kind of like the time bandwidth to reinvent myself a few times,
Right.
which has been pretty interesting. And I'm a little bit ADD about what I'm doing with my life. Like if I don't feel satisfied and fulfilled, I want to change things right away.
Right.
And I did that a few times in my life, and really, I love being a surgeon. I still operate now, but when I first came out of surgery school, let's call it, I was operating 14 hours a day sometimes, every single day, taking night call, being up at 4:30 in the morning. And it was really hard. It's a hard career. Any surgeon will tell you it's a
Right.
hard career. And luckily, my dad taught me a lot about business. He's also an entrepreneur. He did a lot of things. And I helped my dad when I was a kid manage businesses and wrote software programs for him and things like that. And he put like that little bit of that business gene inside of me
Right.
where he kind of taught me that look, you can do a lot as a single individual, but once you start replicating yourself through business, you can do a lot more. And I decided maybe about 10 years after being a surgeon that I needed, number one, I need to get some sleep,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
and,
No kidding.
and I could do more. And so what I was doing at that point in time was I started one of the first chains of medical spas in California and also surgery centers as well. So we did both those businesses at the
What is it
same
called?
time.
What are the surgery
So
centers
the
called?
surgery centers, they have different names. Each surgery center is a different name, but the med spa chain was called Butology, and we still have that. I still have a
Right.
CEO running that business, and since that time, after going through those businesses, um, being a business owner and a surgeon at the same time was even doubly stressful, I found.
Oh my
And
God.
as you know, as you age, stress really impacts you a lot more.
Right. Of
And
course.
so I was very much impacted by the amount of stress I was under. I became, pretty much overweight or obese, you could say, 30 pounds heavier than I am now. I was pre-diabetic. I was on two hypertension medications. I was pretty sick. I couldn't sleep. And I looked in the mirror one day and I said to myself, this is ridiculous. I'm busy and successful, but I'm going to die very early if I keep on this path. And that's what launched me on a new path in my life. And I reinvented myself again.
Wow, you're like a you're kind of like a chameleon in a
Yeah,
way. Or you keep on pivoting to more. You kind of find what your passion is and kind of just pursue that further. It
right.
sounds like, but
Yeah.
like so you because even being a plastic surgeon, like then there's another specialty there. So then when did you become an actual plastic surgeon?
Oh, yeah. So I became a plastic surgeon in 2007.
Oh, okay.
Right. So about 10 years ago,
But
10,
you
11 years ago.
you obviously have a lot of drive, like innate drive and determination to be able to do that and have these other businesses, like and to manage all of that. Like as a kid, like you were saying, your father was kind of someone that you were, I guess, was a role model for the
Right.
entrepreneurship. But like you within that though, like what is it that is there something that drives you to keep on trying to become like better, or just because of your own personal like stress management, you kind of decided to kind of keep on going and further it?
No, I think there's two things that has driven me all the time. I know to be a successful entrepreneur, it's going to be very hard to be successful unless you work your ass off, right?
Right.
And so for me, I knew that working my ass off was part and parcel of being successful. So
Right.
if I wasn't going to work hard, I could pretty much forget about being successful, right?
Right.
And you know that. We talk about this all the time,
Absolutely. Like,
right?
did you have specific habits that you were doing then,
Yeah.
and have they changed? Like, do you still do the same type of rituals and habits, or have they shifted and changed as you kind of got more further along in your career?
Right, and they have. I'd say a lot more of my habits now around health and
Right.
taking care of myself versus just working hard all the time.
Right.
I think the other part of it too is just being passionate about something.
Yeah.
Right. So like I find myself, I don't even want to work hard at something that I don't feel passionate about.
Right.
So that's what also kind of helped me reinvent myself a few times, but also it's part of my rituals and habits every morning now to visualize and to have gratitude and to talk to myself and to journal about what do I really want out of life
Right.
and where and how am I going to get there, right?
Right, you're a big proponent of this, and
Absolutely.
and this is like a big reason why you and I connect so well. I think is because you. I feel like you practice. You don't just talk the talk. You walk the walk, and like you are trying to always better yourself like that. So, what is today? Like in today's day, what is your morning routine? Like, what is your day-to-day
Sure.
morning routine?
Sure, I could tell you. So I wake up every morning around 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes a little bit earlier, and I
Okay.
automatically wake up. I don't need an alarm clock. It just I after doing this for years, it just
Right.
happens. I'm a morning person too, of course. But the first thing I do is I go down and I make some coffee, of course, get my brain going. Put some MCT oil in it.
Oh, so you're a big MCT person. Okay.
Yes,
And you think
yeah.
it works?
I really think it's good science and it works well for me.
Right.
Yes, not for everybody, but for most people, there are benefits as far as energy levels and those kind of things. But and I'm drinking a lot of mushroom coffee now, so
Yeah.
like Four Sigmatic coffee.
That's a
is-
big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know how much of this is. I can't. There's so many different fads, right? I get confused with what's really now placebo. What's really? I know there's science backing it.
Right.
The MCT oil is one of them. I didn't really see much of a difference when I did it. Maybe I didn't do it long enough, or the mushroom as well. Like I know those are like huge right now.
Right.
What do you find when you do that? What is it? What is the effect on you?
So I just find I have more energy, but I don't have that kind of caffeine high and caffeine down
Okay.
after I drink mushroom coffee, and I also find just I have better mental clarity throughout the day as well.
You feel that?
Yeah, I really feel that. Huh? And
Okay.
like of course these are all subjective, right?
Right.
There's
Oh, yeah.
very hard to get endpoints on this, but there's a lot of research out there on MCT oil and a lot of research on cordyceps and mushrooms that if you look at the research, it's pretty convincing that there is an effect.
What is the background research on that? Like, so people would understand. Besides
Right.
you and I saying there's research, what does the research say that it would do? Like, give us
Yeah.
some, doctor.
So the biochemistry of how MCT oil works, for
Right.
example, is that it is absorbed through your gut and converted directly into energy, which is different than other fats, right? Because the other fats have to be digested and then
Right.
go through the liver and those kind of things. So MCT oil, that direct conversion into energy, is a huge biochemical advantage,
Right.
right? Because you don't have to activate your gut basically to get energy. So that's one of the biochemical reasons. And then there's a lot of research, especially in the keto literature about
Oh, here we
MCT
go.
oil. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
We can you and I go down rabbit holes all the
We
time.
could go down this could be a 4-hour rabbit hole. Okay,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So suffice it to say that there's pretty convincing research that shows that MCT oil does affect energy without compromising or increasing your insulin release or glucose.
Right. And then for mushrooms, what's the
So
background on that?
a good friend of mine who runs Four Sigmatic, he came and talked to us about the mushrooms and showed us the research on cordyceps and how they also affect energy levels, how they affect mental clarity and
Right.
mental speed, I guess. And if you look at the studies on this, there is research behind this, and he considers mushrooms a superfood, and so there's about 50 different superfoods out there, and there's tons of nutrition research
Oh,
on
tons.
superfoods in general. So
No, I know, and I've read a lot of the studies, but since you are a doctor, and I know that like you're also someone, like I said, you dive really deep into a lot of learning on like health hacks so much,
Right.
and that so if there's anyone to ask, I might as well ask you, who's like an expert and a guinea pig, basically.
Yes.
All right, so then go on. So you wake
Okay.
up at 5. You have the MCT coffee or the mushroom coffee.
Yep. So the first thing I do is I journal, and I have a diary. I've been keeping a diary since I was a teenager. I basically now use an app on my iPhone, which is awesome. It's called Day One, and I put some photos and I dictate a diary entry. What I love about keeping a diary, it makes you reflect on what you've done, but it also kind of expands time for you. So as you look back in your journal entries, you can see that you've had this full, beautiful life when sometimes you don't feel like you do,
I like that. I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I have this thing called a 5-minute journal. You can get it on Amazon. It's an awesome way to kind of really take you through the process of visualizing affirmations and gratitude. And all three of those are very important,
Right.
I feel. And so I've been feeling, I think I'm on my 6th 5-minute journal at home. And
You've
also,
been telling me about those for a long time.
yeah, you should get it and try it.
I know. I think I have. I think you gave me one.
Yeah.
It's sitting on one of my
Awesome.
I don't know what in one of my drawers somewhere, but I should take it out. It's a lot of people swear by that.
Yeah,
I think
have
Tim
one for my
Ferriss
kid.
uses that one too.
He does.
Yeah.
That's why I heard about it. Was Tim Ferriss?
Oh, see there.
Yeah,
There you go.
and I have one for my kids. So they have one for kids too. So my kids do it, and it's incredible.
That's
for
a
them.
great idea.
Yeah.
And you start the kids early on that journey. That's a really great idea.
Yeah,
I'm
at
gonna
least they
try
get
that.
to talk about it and think about it.
Yeah.
So that's been great as well. Of course, then I'll work out. I just got a Peloton, which is awesome, so I can just work out at home.
You've lost like 100 pounds, literally. Like
No, like 30.
Like 30 pounds. Wow. And you do that
Thanks.
every day?
Every day. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, otherwise I feel terrible
Yeah.
for the rest of the day. So, I believe also that I don't want to work out too hard at my age. Like, I don't want to spend 2 hours on the bike, but
Right.
a good 30 to 45 minutes is fantastic. I feel amazing after the
Do you
workout.
do you do strength weight? Do you do like weight training
yes,
too?
every
Okay.
day I do some weight training, 10
Okay.
or 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll use this app again called the 7-minute workout. It's called the 7. I love the 7-minute workout.
You're telling this to the girl who created the 5-minute work. The
Oh my
hot
gosh, I
5.
should do the 5-minute
It's
workout.
too late now. I don't own it anymore. Do whatever you want.
You
but
should do
I'm
the
saying,
4-minute workout. and hold
I
that one.
know, right? Or like 4.5 or whatever. I know.
Yeah.
So you do the 7-minute work, which means you do 7 minutes of strength training every day with the Peloton, or what is the?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a 7-minute high intensity training workout, a HIIT workout,
Yeah.
and it provides you with some strength exercises, some flexibility as well. There's different ones you can choose on the app, and I try to mix it up sometimes. And then after the workout, like for me, my brain really needs to learn something every day. So I'll always read for half an hour to 45 minutes. And so that's something I
Oh.
always do. And then my kids wake up, and then it's making pancakes and getting
Right.
the lunch boxes ready and all that stuff.
Wow. So wait, so you read right after. So after you do your weight, this is a good one. So after you do your workout, that's when you take that time, the next 45 minutes, to actually learn something. You read
Yes.
something new. You do something like for every day, every time. Like that's kind of
Every
part of
day.
your routine. What is
Yes.
it? Is it anything? Like just something? What do you pick? Is it just?
I have a stack of magazines and a stack of books that I'm always combing through. So it's usually either a magazine or a book. And by magazines, I mean journals and studies and those kind of things. Something that's interesting me at that moment in time.
No, I love that. And the reason why I like that so much is because I always have my intention is always I'll read that tonight. Before I go to bed, I'm going to read that. And what happens, I'm so tired by the time the night comes that I'll read like a half a page and I'll fall asleep.
Right.
So I get nothing accomplished. I've been reading the same book for 4.5 months, which is not really productive, right? Because especially now, like there's so many different people I'm meeting, and I really want to kind of like dive deeper, and then like time goes by. That's a great one. I'm gonna make
Yes.
sure I'm gonna write that one down because
Your brain is so on fire after
right,
you've
you're
run and
so
worked out.
alert
You're
at that.
so alert. Yeah. The key for the whole thing though is to not get on your emails and not get on your texts or
Right.
Instagram. Just like put that away until it's time to do that later in the day. Because
Absolutely.
that just messes up the whole routine.
That's a great hack. I think that's a great one. So after you exercise, because you're so alert, you are so like your endorphins are all going. That's the greatest time, and you'll probably like it resonate more in that time. I love that.
Yep.
That's a good one. Can you give me other like it's okay? You've given me a few different health hacks. Let's go through in all of your findings. Give me eight more health hacks, just like that.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, I know that's a lot, but
No.
like I said to you before, it's like someone like you who like speaks to like you go to so many different conferences, you do all the TED Talks, you speak to like the best of the best, the best experts. I want another, maybe not 8. Give me like the next 5.
Sure,
Give
I
me
can
another-
give you. I can give you.
You can
some.
probably
So-
give me 108, by the way, but I don't want to put you on the spot like that.
No,
And
no,
it's also a
I'll,
time.
I'll go through a few of them for you. So what I do at Next Health is, a lot of people want health coaching and they want
Right.
to know like what are all the health hacks. And hacks is kind of not the best word for it because
Right.
it's just habits and routines that you should do and enable that with technology and the latest science, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're not taking a shortcut, but you're facilitating and enabling using technology and science,
That's a
right?
good way
how
of putting it.
that's how I think about it. And what I do is I have everything kind of segmented into what I call the wellness wheel. So there's 12 different aspects of your health and wellness that you should focus on. And of course, we all know the pillars are diet, sleep, and exercise, right? So under diet, we could talk about that forever.
Right.
But I really recommend people consider fasting, intermittent fasting. There's a lot of science around it. It's extremely helpful. And it might not help you lose weight, but what it is going to do once you get past an initial week or two period is you are going to have better control of your insulin levels and your glucose. You're going to activate all sorts of pathways and longevity, mTOR, and these kind of things. And there's a lot of good research behind it. And
Yeah.
I feel great when I'm fasting.
So do you do the 12, the 14, the 16-hour fast?
So I do time restricted eating where I only eat during daytime, during when the sun is out. So I make sure that I have my last meal before the sun goes down. All right.
Okay.
Of course, sometimes I can't do that all the time. Like last night, we were out with friends, and then it's kind of like I can't do it. But you don't have to do it every day anyway. And then my breakfast, I always skip my breakfast because I eat my first meal at like 11 o'clock is what I do.
Wow. So then, okay.
So that's about a 16-hour fast.
So then that's a big one.
Yeah.
So then okay, I got a couple questions on that. So, because I know intermittent again is one of those like buzzwords right now. It's like keto and intermittent fasting. Now, with the intermittent fasting, you say you don't have to do it every day. Would you say 5 times a week is probably
Even if you do 1 or 2 times a week,
That's
you don't need to do
it?
it 5 times a week. Right, exactly. If you can make it a lifestyle, that's fantastic. But
Oh, wow.
pretty intense people do it 5 times a week. I'm probably doing it 2 or 3 times a week max. It's when it fits into my life and I can
Right.
make it happen.
because the reason why I haven't tried it was because of the lifestyle. Like with
Yeah.
with you have kids and you have other things going on, and with social life, it's very very hard.
Right. You can't be rigid with it because then you'll
Right.
just you'll disappoint yourself.
Right, exactly. And then that's a whole other laundry list of like you go down a bad rabbit hole
Right,
there.
right.
So then you're saying if you just do it a few times, a couple times, whenever it's convenient,
Right.
it actually makes a difference.
Right.
It's beneficial.
Hugely.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll try that
I think
then.
it's a great diet hack. People who have done intermittent fasting for a long time, they will tell you that they have lost weight over time. They've been able to better manage their cravings for sure.
How? What's the research behind managing your cravings like that?
So, we're programmed to eat 3 times a day, right?
Right.
And so what happens when you're constantly eating 3 times a day, your hormones, ghrelin and leptin
Right.
are going up and down and it's causing hunger, right? Once you get your brain out of that routine of this circadian hormonal release, then it no longer makes you hungry during those times anymore. Because hunger is
Right.
just something that happens in your brain. It's
So
not
basically,
happening.
you're retraining your brain.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. And it takes about 2 weeks to retrain your brain.
2 weeks to retrain your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because like the initials, so like I'm so used to, and I'm sure a lot of people are so used to having not only eating breakfast, but you've been hearing your whole life that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It like revs up your metabolism and all the other things, right? But now everything is so contrary. So it's really hard to like tweak the psychology behind that,
You know, a
right?
lot of the research around breakfast
Right.
was funded by the corn industry and the dairy
Right,
industry because,
right.
cornflakes and milk, right? That's what you should have for breakfast. And
Absolutely.
now that all of this research funding has been exposed,
Right.
now we're rethinking the entire concept of breakfast. Our ancestors didn't eat breakfast, right?
Right.
They ate whenever they caught food, you know,
Exactly.
right? So,
Exactly. It's just really like it's retraining your brain and
yes.
like and basically doing it and kind of that's the only way to kind of actually change it, right? It's not just like thinking about it. You have to try it and know that it'll be like 2 weeks minimum, or is it 2 weeks or around
Yeah,
there?
it's different for everybody, of course, but I would give yourself 2 weeks,
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah,
Man. Well, these are
yeah.
good things because again, I didn't think that I thought intermittent fasting you had to do it more like at least 5 times a week, and and like I said, and I
You
guess
don't
it's
have
true.
to.
You just have to retrain your brain for that. Okay,
Right.
give me some other habits.
So we talked about exercise. I won't do that again. Just, as a good hit workout, 7 minute app if you
You're
have
talking
that
to the
or
queen of hit right now.
yeah,
Now you're talking
exactly.
my
So
language.
just listen to
Yeah.
your podcast and make that happen. As far as sleep goes, now this is a really important topic. Everyone's talking about sleep. You have to optimize your sleep in two ways: optimize your sleep routine and optimize your sleep environment, right?
Right.
So, and there's a laundry list of things that we can go over with all those things. But I'm a big proponent of watching your biological data. So you should get a sleep monitor. And the one I
Interesting.
found, there's a couple that are really good. There's one that's a ring that you wear called an Aura ring, which is really good.
Oh,
And yeah, that's fantastic. You just wear it at night and it gives you pretty good data. And then the pads that go into your mattress, which I don't like to wear jewelry, so I don't wear a ring.
right.
So I put this pad under my mattress, and Nokia Health sells one, and also Beddit, a company that was recently bought by Apple, sells one. Beddit. So if you,
Really?
yes, and this is great because you just get into bed and it monitors your sleep. You wake up in the morning and get a sleep score. It's a score between 0 to 100. And what's been awesome is my wife and I compare sleep scores every morning.
That's great.
Yes,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
So you're like, I got a 90, you got 100. What did you do that made your sleep better?
Yeah.
And it's so great because even though you there's research out there that challenges the validity of the exact sleep score, fine, but it gets you in the routine of measuring your sleep and trying to improve it in different
That's
ways.
no, no.
Right?
I agree with you. Sleep has become a big one. There's been a lot more focus on it. I had the sleep doctor, Dr. Michael Bruce
Good friend of mine.
on,
Yep.
right,
Yep.
who was fantastic, and he was giving us a lot of different ways to improve your sleep. But I didn't hear about the ring or that mattress
Pad. Yep.
pad. Those are great. Those are great things to because I think there's so much correlation between bad sleep, your health, the cortisol levels.
Huge.
That's a really good one. Okay,
Yes.
give me some more.
Okay, so then if we go down the wellness wheel.
Yeah, we're on that wellness
yeah,
wheel.
Exactly. So the next thing I talk about, of course, is cardiac health. So this becomes more and more important as you age. But
Right.
even if you're in your 20s and your 30s and you're listening to this, you need to start learning about your heart and what keeps your heart healthy and what makes your heart deteriorate over time, right? And one of the things that I recommend if you're 40s or especially if you're 50s, is go get a study called a coronary calcium score. This tells us how much calcium deposition is in your arteries, and it tells us predictively what your risk of having a heart attack is. Okay,
Wow.
and so
Where do you get this?
so you can get it at any radiology center and just ask your doctor to prescribe it for you, and your insurance should cover it. If your insurance doesn't cover it, just call around. You can get it for like $100 or even less at a
Wow.
radiology center. And I can't tell you the number of guys in their 40s have recommended this to, and they have significant issues, and they are working on turning them around right now.
That's amazing. You can actually prevent a heart attack by having the knowledge and information.
Absolutely.
How come no one talks about that?
I don't know why.
I haven't
you
heard
know?
anyone mention that.
Yeah, it's sad because there's so much out there in technology and around health because our healthcare industry spends trillions
Yeah.
every year developing this technology, but it only gets applied to when you're sick.
Right.
So like all of a sudden you're like, I'm having chest pain. Okay, well go get a coronary calcium score. Well, by then it's too late.
too late by
Right,
then.
Exactly. Now your score's like 1,000 when you could have caught it when it was 400. You could have done something about it.
Absolutely. And I think also with heart disease, isn't it much more prevalent now in women? That's what I heard.
It's becoming, yeah, there's a huge push for women to understand that they're just as at risk for heart
Right.
disease as men are. So you have to be proactive in diagnosing and treating problems with your heart, and especially the blood flow to your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Keep on going on that. This wellness wheel is great. I like it. We should just come on every, and just keep on going.
Yeah.
This is great. This
Well,
could
for
be
each
like,
one of these, I can talk
I
about
was gonna
like
say, so
hours.
it's like each part, each like little like piece of the pie on this wellness wheel could be an entire podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're just going to go through them. We're summarizing, and then you'll come back again, and we can kind of dive deeper later.
Exactly. Okay, next thing I talk about is gut health.
Yeah, it's a big
Huge
one.
topic right now, right? So one thing that everyone should get familiar with and Google and research on and read about is leaky gut,
Yes.
right? A lot of people have leaky gut. They don't even realize or understand it, and they're causing inflammation throughout their body. So what's happening there is food particles of certain foods that you eat, your gut is unable to protect you from those particles getting into your bloodstream. Okay, and they're tiny. Of course, they're microscopic, but they get into your bloodstream, and your immune system is like, "What is that? That's not supposed to be here," and it attacks it. But you keep eating this stuff, and your immune system is always attacking these little proteins of foods that are in your blood, and you're constantly in this state of inflammation and immune system overactivation.
Right.
And when your immune system is overactivated, it's not just destroying things that is not supposed to be in your body, it's actually destroying normal cells as well and harming you, normal cells in your brain, in your heart, everywhere throughout your
Wow.
body. And so getting to know where your gut stands and how well it's protecting you against inflammation is huge. In practice, probably going to be one of the most important things in health and wellness that we're going to learn this decade, and there's going to be so much more about it. You have to make sure your gut is healthy. And the way you make sure your gut is healthy there's a couple of different ways. One is to feed your microbiome. Your microbiome is of trillions of bacteria and viruses and fungi that are synergistically and symbiotically living inside your gut. And the way you protect them is to feed them with prebiotics. Okay, so my favorite prebiotic, which is very easy to use, is called Skinny Gut. You buy a bottle on Amazon. It's a fiber that dissolves very easily in your coffee. So I also
yeah.
throw this in my coffee.
Wow, exactly.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I've heard of Skinny Gut. Isn't there? There's a whole brand. They have a lot of. Don't they have a lot of different products for this though? Like they have. Is it the right?
They have a few different products, but the one you want is their fiber supplement.
The fiber supplement,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. And it's the green label one, and it's awesome. It's easy. You don't even notice this in your coffee or your
Do you actually
breakfast.
have coffee in your coffee? I feel like you have a lot of other stuff in the coffee except coffee.
It really is like an elixir.
I do. I feel like it's like
Right.
it's like it has coffee-ish stuff in it, coffee-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
You should speak my friend Ben Greenfield. His coffee is just ridiculous what he puts
Oh,
in
I
it
can
every
only
day.
imagine. It's like
nuts.
a cocktail, like
It
11,
is.
25 different things in
But
there.
why not start your day off right with the first thing you put in your body nourishes your gut, your brain,
Absolutely
your
agree
energy,
with you.
all of that, right? So then, so feed your microbiome and
Okay.
get that, and also
How do you know, by the way? What are some symptoms that you would have to know if you have a leaky gut?
fatigue,
Okay.
joint pains, inability to get to sleep at night, inability to wake up in the morning, just overall
That could be like a new mom.
low energy. Yeah,
Sounds like a new mom.
Yeah, if you feel like a new mom,
Yeah.
you might have leaky gut.
That could be their tagline. That could be like
Right.
the new commercial. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. I like that.
And just real quick around this too is get a food sensitivity test. They're really good
Mm.
at telling you what foods you should avoid to give your gut a chance to heal. Okay.
See, I find that these are great tips because I think what I love about you is like you're filled with so much knowledge because you always take it to the next level. Like you're so curious and always want to learn and know. The problem is most doctors, the truth of the matter is you go see a doctor, they don't tell you this stuff. They don't talk about this stuff. They just like give you one blood test or say, oh, take this, take this pill, take that pill. But in reality, that's not what your body and what you need.
No.
So that's what's really frustrating. It's like you have to, knowledge is power. People have to take themselves and like be their own best advocate.
Exactly. You have to take your health into your own hands, become the CEO of your own health. Our entire medical system is focused around disease diagnosis, right?
No
And what pill-
preventative.
Yeah, exactly. I went to a doctor every single year that I was gaining like 5, 10 pounds a year. They're like, you're fine, go and exercise. And
Yeah.
that was not what was happening. There was a lot around it. Didn't even ask me about my stress levels, how, what's
Right.
my sugar doing, none of this stuff. And it's so important to know this thing
And you can actually heal yourself if you have the right information.
easily. And then you can prevent all sorts of bad diseases in the
Right.
future.
I,
So,
I mean, I'm really scared of getting cancer because
mhm,
cancer like is rapid in my family. And, the reality is like this, I guess at the end of the day, there's things you can do to prevent it, but you can't, it still happens. But like things like this make at least put you on the side of potentially like less chance maybe than, I mean, is there ways to prevent cancer in your mind besides inflammation is the number one,
yeah,
right?
inflammation is one of the biggest precursors to cancer, and so if you can keep your immune system focused on destroying cancer cells and not cause all this damage with your immune system, you're going to do you are going to give yourself a much better chance, right? And we can measure how much inflammation is going on in your body. It's very easy.
How do you measure that?
There's a blood test called an HS, a highly sensitive CRP test, HSCRP,
Uh-huh.
and a homocysteine level, two tests. There's also a bunch of others, but these two are easy, cheap. You could ask your doctor for them, and you can find out immediately if you have inflammation going on in your body. Why would you not want to know that,
Absolutely. Like
right?
that's why I think you need to like do your research. But the flip side to that is people then Google, like if they become hypochondriacs, right? And they're
Hmm.
like, I think I have this, I have that. You think you have everything. So like how does someone find someone like you? Seriously, because you're only here. You're not like everywhere around the country.
Right.
I mean, it's
So here's the thing. So Google, when you put your symptoms in, is going to diagnose a disease for you the way a doctor does.
right.
Right. It's
Exactly.
not going to help you get to the root cause of what's going on. Right.
Right.
Few of the ways to get access to this information. I hate to say this to your audience, but it's really a lot about self-education. You got to get yourself listening to podcasts like yourselves, like our Next Health Forefront podcast,
Yeah.
Ben Greenfield. There's so many out there that you can listen to that give you good information
Right.
and that really make you think, and then you research some more, right?
Right.
There are a group of doctors called functional medicine doctors that are kind of more focused on this. They want to get to the
Right.
root cause of disease versus disease diagnosis and giving you a pill. But we're defining, I feel, in Next Health, a new type of experience, which is called a health optimization center. And this is where you can come and get all this testing in a package and just understand everything all at once. And then we tell you, here's what you need to know about every aspect of the wellness wheel.
Right.
And then just do these things and you got it.
Well, that's why your business is crushing it, seriously, because I think that it's become people who are in the know. It's like it's one of those things like if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't know, right? So I feel like you're doing a really good job of kind of spreading the message and getting it out there. But you're only in LA. Like Next Health is only in Los Angeles. Are you going to
Right.
be going into other cities or?
It's our plan, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for sure. Of
Yeah.
course, we're going to cover the big cities first and then kind of start branching out more. And all this information I'm going to be putting on an online course as well eventually.
Oh, that's good.
So people can learn it all just very, here's the most relevant information. Here's links to studies if you want to read more about it. But here's the things that you need to do. And really, it's once you have someone filter through all the information for you, it's really not that hard. It's
Right.
actually, I don't want to say easy because it does take time, but you have to invest time and money into your health.
Absolutely.
Right?
Or you're going to pay for it on the other end.
Exactly.
Either way, you're going to pay. It depends if you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later, really.
Right. 100%.
So keep on going on this wellness wheel. Okay, so the leaky
Okay.
gut, we finished with the leaky gut. You said it's about inflammation. Symptoms, you said it's kind of like being a new mom. You're tired, you're fatigued, you're kind of like not feeling all that great.
Exactly.
Okay, and then give us some other. Oh, you said for cancer also it's about inflammation. So you want to take
Exactly.
those two tests.
Right.
All right.
Right. So just preventing inflammation. There's a lot of genetic markers for cancer as well. And a lot of people are scared to know if they have a genetic marker for
Yeah.
cancer, right? I mean, and I understand that fear, but there's stuff you can do about it now.
Right.
Now we can direct our proactive diagnostic testing to look for those cancers. Like say you have a BRCA gene, for example, right? This is one that's very popular.
Right.
Now we know you need to get a mammogram much more frequently at an earlier age, right?
Absolutely.
It's better to know than to not know is what I like to tell people because we do have the technology to look for things now.
Right.
And then every single cancer, I don't care which one it is, the earlier you find it, the easier it is to treat it.
Oh,
Right?
1000%.
So why not get the genetic testing? And there's a great test called the color test that you can get is online. You can just send in a swab and they'll send you back
Called the color test?
color, COLOR, and just search color cancer test online, and it's gives you some genetic markers of cancer, and then you know what to look for.
God, you're a fountain of information. Wow. Okay, keep on going. This is amazing. I'm not going to get to all my other things I wanted to talk to you about. This is great because you have again, what I love about you is like you're explaining it and there's a solution behind it. It's not like you're just like yammering on and on. You're like saying, how about this? And you can actually, here's some practical stuff that you can do about it.
Right.
Right?
Right, exactly. And what I try to do is organize the information so it's not overwhelming and it's organized by body system so that you can, understand what you're looking at. Because there's so much information out there. It's like this waterfall. And then like you have all sorts of like bloggers and people who like are scientists but not clinicians and clinicians but not scientists. Like all these people are writing about stuff and you don't know what's real and what's not.
And that's the problem with everything. That's why people are, in a place where there's so many different options for weight loss. People are more obese than ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because the other side is like too much information is also dangerous, right? Because
analysis
you don't know what
by
to
paralysis.
believe. Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. Because you don't know. You're like, oh my God, there's like so much.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's good to also have a few trusted sources and listen to them.
Exactly.
And like kind of be myopic in that way, right? Like know who's good, know who's trustworthy, and then listen.
Exactly.
I think
that's the key. And just find someone that you connect with, find someone that you know that you've gotten some good information from, that you've kind of validated yourself. It's not something that's crazy, like they're not telling you to do something that like get a frog to bite you
right.
or
Like
whatever.
it's practical
exactly.
and it's doable.
Right.
No, it's true. Okay, give me one more, and then I want to ask you some other stuff.
Okay, sure. Let's see. Why don't we talk about hormone health? Okay.
Yes.
So every single person needs to know that when you turn 30 or sometimes a little bit after, a little bit before, you're going to start declining in your hormone levels. And that happens because we're genetically programmed to start doing this, right? And unfortunately, to be young, healthy, and vibrant, you need a certain amount of hormone, right? The stress in our lives after we turn 30s, 40s, also severely affects our hormone levels. And so the more stress you have, the more out of balance your hormones get.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of people will go to their doctor and say, I feel like my hormones are out of balance. And the doctor will measure their hormones and they'll say, yeah, you are a little bit out of balance. You might want to just take a little bit of hormone replacement therapy.
Right.
And then, there's a lot of controversy around which hormone replacement therapy you should do. But what I want to tell everyone is focus on one number, men and women. If you're in your 30s, late 30s, definitely early 40s, get your testosterone level measured. So for men especially, the number that's on kind of like on every single lab sheet, it says if you're over 200, if you're over 200, you're fine, okay?
Right.
But if you're under 200, then maybe you should do something. Well, that number is not really right. So 200 is like the bare minimum. For men, it should be closer to 700, 800, or 900 to be optimized.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, there's studies out there that say that that if you optimize your testosterone level, you're going to protect against Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, all sorts of things.
Wow.
Yeah. And so for women also, you want to optimize your testosterone level, and it totally helps with your energy.
Right.
It helps with keeping muscle, not getting
Muscle.
sarcopenia, right? All of these things. And so it's something to consider. And then, unfortunately, a lot of doctors were trained when I was trained or even before where, the hormone replacement therapy was just like poo-pooed. And then there's this big study that came out using synthetic hormones that said that hormone replacement therapy was bad. But the study was done on synthetic hormone on very elderly women, and it kind of misguided hormone therapy as a general category. But there's a lot of doctors like myself, most doctors I would say now understand that your hormones are very, very important and you need to optimize them. And so you should know what your testosterone level is. And it shouldn't become when you're symptomatic. You should just find out what it is. And you can get that test online now too. There's a lot of places online where you can get a testosterone level measure. And I think it's good information.
Can you do that? Can you do that at Next Health though?
Of course, yeah. We offer all these tests at Next Health. I'm trying to make this more general, so if you're not in LA.
No, I know. You want to be, and I love you for that. That's very, but I love you for that. So then what can I ask you then, let's just, because of, Next Health or the whole thing about it's so great, the optimization of your health. You guys do all these, what do you think of infrared saunas? What do you think of all these other things that people are doing for cellular generation or anti-aging,
Yeah.
and like, do you want to talk a little bit about that, or
I love it. I mean, there's a
does
lot
it
of
work?
studies. Yeah, I think it does. There's a lot of studies that have been done on heat sauna therapy, showing that
Right.
exposing your body to heat activates longevity pathways. Okay, and I've been doing it for a while, and I
Right.
love it, and I feel so much better after I do a heat sauna. Infrared, there's infrared saunas even better.
What's the difference? I think that's the thing. So
Mhm.
I know that like the regular traditional sauna we're talking
Right,
about right now.
right,
Then there's the infrared.
right.
There's like a billion other. I mean, can
Exactly.
you explain this?
It's not a
Because I
billion.
think I'm
There's a
like,
couple.
well, I know there's a few though. There's a
Yeah.
pod, like even at Nextel, you have a pod.
Yep.
You have a bed that looks like a tanning
Right.
bed. You have the ones outside. You have the ones that you go to the gym, and you have a sauna. Like, what are the different breakdowns?
So the most popular kind right now is the kind you kind of walk into and you sit there, and that's kind of the wood inside,
Right.
and those are now being powered with infrared light. And infrared light has been shown to help energy levels, hormone levels, also help with sleep. There's studies out on all of this. So you get kind of like a double benefit from being in a
Okay.
heat and have the infrared light. And then we also have an near infrared light pod. And what that does, that infrared light going up against your skin releases nitric oxide from your blood vessels, which increases blood flow.
So
And
that's the
also
one that looks like the tanning
the
bed.
tanning bed, right?
Okay.
Exactly. But it's not ultraviolet light; it's
No.
near infrared. So
Right.
doesn't cause cancer, but it does activate mitochondria and releases nitric oxide, which is a very important substance for blood flow and overall health.
So how often do you have to do that to see the results, though?
It's kind of like anything. Like how much broccoli do you have to eat to feel healthy, right?
Right. That's a good question,
you
right?
just,
Yeah.
you just do it as much as you can in your routine. Do you have to do it every day? No. If you're very wealthy and you have the time, you can certainly do it every day. It's not going to be harmful.
Right.
But I would recommend once a week is a great amount of time to spend. Once a week going to a place like Next Health or a place that has these devices that are vetted, and you make sure that you're going in a device that really works. I think that's good.
So so you still get the benefit even if you don't do it like, all the time. Basically, there's
Yeah.
still like it's more like even a little bit is effective.
Exactly.
Right. So, because this is the thing, even with the intermittent fasting, with the infrared saunas, like a lot of these things, I think a lot of times people don't start because they think it's too, like, well, I don't have the time or the money or the energy to commit to something full time. So then they don't do anything, right?
Right.
Even me, who's in this industry, like it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I can't do all the time. Then forget it. I'm not going to
Right.
be able to. So
Right.
it's interesting. It's very like, it's actually good to know that even a little bit makes a difference.
It does, right?
Yeah.
What I tell people is, if you can give yourself 2 hours a week
Mm-hmm.
on self care, which is like, no one does that, right? No, who
Right.
spends 2 hours a week on self care other than
Right.
going to the gym?
Other
right?
than right, and
Right?
then the reality, no, it's true, and the reality is like fitness, as we just talked about earlier, is just one component of overall wellness and health. It's just one component.
Exactly.
You got to do all these other things that work in that wellness wheel kind of thing.
Exactly.
So 2 hours of self care. Otherwise,
A week, yeah. Just block it out in your calendar. Like if you can't spend 2 hours on yourself in your calendar, make it happen because it's going to keep you alive for years longer. you
right?
know?
What are other habits that don't require someone going to a place like Next Health besides exercise, besides diet?
The one we always talk about, meditation.
And I knew you were going to bring up meditation. Can I tell you something? I can tell you almost every single human being who sits where you are right now, when they talk about their habits, their rituals, like what kind of like centers them, makes them kind of extra productive or like productive or on point, they always say meditation every time. And here you are again. I mean, but you do the TM kind, which is
Yes.
different.
Yep, I tried all of them, and
Right.
I think there's a different form that will work for everybody, right? I
Right.
don't think there's necessarily one right form, but find what works for you. Experiment, get some apps. If those don't work, go take a TM class. If that doesn't
What's
work,
TM?
go on a
Tell
retreat.
the difference between TM, because you told that to me on your podcast. But for those of you who want to know what we're talking about, what's the difference between TM meditation and just using an app on your phone for meditation?
Yeah, I mean, there's different kinds of meditation. If you want to kind of categorize them, there's focused meditation where you're focused on something like, one object in your head or one god, even if you want to make it secular, which you shouldn't. You don't have to be religious to do meditation, of course, right?
Right.
And then another type of meditation is where you're using your breath, right?
Right.
And you're trying to clear your mind completely. So you're not focusing on something. You let thoughts come in and you let thoughts go out, and you're trying to clear your mind. And then the third category in my mind is transcendental meditation, where you're going into a deeper level. So thoughts are still occurring, you're letting them occur, and then you're just like getting under the thoughts. So the way people that describe TM meditation is like it's the ocean, a cross section of the ocean. The top is still very wavy, and there's might be a storm at the top, but the deeper you go, the
Right.
calmer and calmer it gets.
And how much do you do that? Like every day?
It's supposed to be 20 minutes twice a day, and honestly, I probably hit that maybe like 10% of the time, but at
Wow.
least once a day I try to do it.
That's a lot. So like that's like another habit. Like there's a lot of different things that you have to like you're hitting daily. Like you have your learning, you have your meditation, you have your exercise, and you
Right.
have your journaling, which those things don't like take that
They don't take a
long.
lot of time.
They don't take a lot of
Yeah.
time.
And if you stack them and you put them all together into like one routine, like before you know it, it's done.
Right,
Like 2 hours and
exactly.
all this is done, or an hour and a half and it's all done.
And in fact, actually, I think it makes you even more productive and more efficient later on because you've done those things.
Exactly. If you get like an app on your phone, like the new iPhone does this, it
Yeah.
tells you how much time you spend on social
Right.
media. Like
God,
easily, it's like 2, 3 hours for some people.
crazy,
or
right?
more, right?
absolutely.
Cut that in half and do this instead.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right?
I think this is like the worst thing that's ever happened to to society now because people are so preoccupied and obsessed with it. It like is there something I wanted to ask you? Is there something like on the medical side that what does it do to your brain? Because I feel like the second that you start with it becomes a worse and worse thing, and like you become like addicted. It's like it's an addiction, like it would be alcohol
Yeah.
or drugs.
It just gives you that dopamine hit every
Yeah.
single time you're on you're like looking for a message. I got a message. I got a message. And you're like looking for validation. It gives you a dopamine hit every single time.
Right.
And your body gets used to having dopamine all the time. And when it doesn't, it's like, where did I find that last hit of dopamine? Oh yeah, my phone. I'm gonna
Right.
go, and you grab for it.
So how do you make it? How do you tweak it? Because it would be unrealistic to tell people just, oh yeah, don't do it. How do you? It's like eating, right? How do you minimize the necessity of using it, but to a minimum? Like it's not, like food. Like if you have
Yeah.
a food addiction, people still have to eat three times a day.
Right.
So how is
Well, they
there
don't
like?
have to eat 3 times a day, but
Well, no, okay, according to you, they have
Yeah,
to eat like once
yeah.
a day and they're fine. But like, no, but
Right.
like how is there a way? Is there a way, or has it been medically shown or research proven that there's a way to kind of like,
modulate your phone
Yeah.
usage. Yeah. I mean, look, it's all
or
about
or your food or any of these addictive habits, right?
The only way that you're going to eliminate one habit is to replace it with a different
With another
habit,
one, I
right?
knew you were going to say that was the answer I would say, but I'm not a
Yes.
doctor. But so you just have to again.
Get your dopamine hits from something else.
Right,
Get your
it's
dopamine
just-
hit from exercising. Get your dopamine hit from a 7-minute workout or a 5-minute workout or whatever. All that.
Don't you say 7-minute workout? I'm just kidding. But I know that's like that's the obvious answer. It's common sense. It's just sometimes it's harder. So I thought that'd be a trick or something that you can kind of tell
Yeah.
us, because you seem to have tricks for everything.
Yeah,
And
I mean, habit stacking is a great trick for
Yeah.
me for developing habits. Like, start a habit really small. Okay,
habit
so
stacking. Okay, I like
yeah,
that.
habit stacking is an amazing trick, actually. So what you do is you start a habit really small. Say you don't even exercise. You're going to wake up every morning and do 1 push-up, okay? You're not going to end up doing 1 push-up. You're going to do 5 push-ups,
Right.
right? And then once you start getting into a routine where you're like, oh, I'm doing 100 push-ups every morning, then you're like, I need to journal. 100 push-ups, journal for 1 minute. Just write one thing down, right?
Right.
One sentence. Build that, then do another one. Like, I didn't put all these habits together like overnight. It took
Right.
me a couple years to make this routine.
Absolutely.
And if you stack them all together and get them done, like, you get programmed to doing it. Just like when you wake up in the morning and you grab your keys to your car and you go out to your car and you drive to work, you're like, how did I get to work? I don't even remember getting into my car.
Yeah.
It just happens.
It becomes autopilot. It becomes
Exactly.
part of it's like brushing your teeth. But like did you say it takes about, is that part of the mental training, mental tricks? Would you say that takes about 2 weeks to kind of get comfortable with that, or longer? Because they say that takes longer.
Yeah, it takes about 21 days.
Right.
Everyone's different, 21 days to develop a new habit. So, if every 21 days, if you added a new habit to your habit stack, by a year, you're going to have over 12, 13, 14 habits added.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Like you and I talk. I mean, we say the same things. I never called it habit stacking. I think it's a great way of putting it, though. Okay, the other thing I want to touch on. I know we're like kind of like short for time. Is X Prize.
Oh
Is that
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So like Darshan, from what is kind of you're kind of obsessed with like living forever, basically, longevity. What is X Prize? Tell us.
Okay. Well, X Prize is one of the organizations that I'm a member of. It's an organization put together by Peter Diamandis, an amazing entrepreneur and person. He has this book called Abundance, which is just a beautiful read. You have to read this book.
If I read it at night, it'll take me 7 years. I'll start in the morning. Okay.
Do it in the morning.
I was
It'll
going to
take
say I'm
you-
going to start in the morning.
You'll
There you
finish
go.
a book every single month if you start reading in the morning.
That's exactly true. You know what?
Yeah.
I think I love that. Okay, I'm going to do that.
But what I love about X Prize is that they develop competitions where you win a significant prize, millions of dollars sometimes, for solving a problem that people have not been able to solve yet. Okay, so one of the first private space flights into space was because of an X Prize. Peter said, I'm going to give this huge prize to whoever develops a spacecraft that goes privately into space. And then that's what turned into Virgin Galactic later on.
Wow,
Yeah.
good. I like that.
So after the success of that, what Peter did was he created many different X Prizes for different things. So there's an X Prize for getting water to places that need water. There's an X Prize for taking carbon out of the air and making it into something usable. All sorts of amazing concepts of things the world really needs. And teams from all over the world brainstorm and try to figure out how to win this prize. And so think about that. Like, I mean,
Wow.
the motivation of people to solve these huge problems in small teams is just amazing.
That's
right?
amazing. How do you get in? Like, can anyone just be a part of X Prize? Can I just join and pay
No,
my
you have to
$100
apply.
membership? Or?
You have to apply, and it's you have to apply, and they're looking for individuals that can really support their mission. So yeah, if you go to xprize.com and see what it's all about, and you can definitely participate. But what I really like about X Prize is just part of my learning journey.
Yeah.
I learned so much from X Prize. I learned so much from going to TED every year. I learned so much from going to Abundance 360 every year. I learned so much from all these conferences. Like
What was your favorite TED Talks? I know you go to them all the time.
oh wow. My favorite TED
Yeah,
Talk.
your favorite one.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I would say, Tim Ferriss did a really good one the last time I was there. I'm going to give him one of my
Really?
favorites.
What was it
Yeah.
on?
He was just talking about how he beat his own mind. He was suicidal for a while, and how he beat that as a child.
Really?
Not as a child, as a college student. Yes.
So that was your favorite one okay, that was recently. What was your okay, give me one more. I want one more. Because I know you go like Darshan goes to the TED Talks, I think literally every year. And
Yes.
you have it like you don't miss any of them.
Right. There's one of vulnerability that is like the most.
Oh,
You know that one?
I have.
What's her name?
Brene
yeah,
Brown.
exactly.
Brene Brown on
right.
vulnerability.
What a great
Yeah.
talk! Oh my gosh,
That was
yeah.
well. That one I think had the most one of the most
Watched.
YouTube hits I think ever. Brene Brown did another YouTube talk before vulnerability that was also massive. What was that one called?
I don't remember what that one was called.
Oh,
but
okay.
that was amazing.
But she does great on that platform.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah. But how incredible is it? Like humanity makes that the most watched video of TED, right? People want to be vulnerable. People want
Absolutely
connection,
true.
and that's part of the wellness wheel too. We talk about brain health. Connection is one of the major aspects of having good brain health.
That's a great segue back into the wellness wheel. No, but I think that's also, it's probably one of the most important things. I agree with you.
Right.
And it's one of those things that people like, again, they overlook. They look at the diet, they look at the fitness, but stuff like, having spiritual connection, emotional connection, all of those things create for your stress. It actually is, it creates your stress levels do go down from that, and you become a healthier, happier person.
Exactly.
So tell me about the brain. Tell me about that a little bit more. Let's just touch
Brain
upon
health?
that. The brain health.
Okay, so
yeah.
loneliness is one of the major causes of dementia and Alzheimer's and early death, actually. And so one of the key aspects of maintaining good brain health is to not be lonely.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you and I are very lucky, right? We get to meet tons of people every single day,
Right.
and interesting people, and there's just not enough time in our lives for all the people we get to meet. But that's not true for many
I
people.
know.
And
That's like shameful.
yes, yes. And I think, I think it's a responsibility for people that do have the good fortune of being well connected to find the people that are not well connected and
Hmm.
bring them in. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of people, and if you're introverted, take an online test to see if you're introverted. If you feel like you are, being introverted is not something bad. It's just something you need to know about yourself. And
Right.
once you know that about yourself, there are techniques and ways of getting out there a
Right.
little bit more.
That's a really good point.
And it's not social media.
It's not, I know, exactly. I think social media can be very harmful because you see other people living their best life, quote unquote, which are, it's usually smoke and mirrors, as we know, right? And then you judge yourself based on things that are artificial and not even, authentic, which is
Exactly.
terrible. But there's a lot of different like groups that people can take. And I think it's hard when you are, when you are an introvert though, to take that step. But I think, like you just said, I think it does make a difference for your overall health overall
Right.
and your longevity, which is your
Hugely.
other obsession.
Right.
So what do you do if you're so obsessed with, so like I said, Darshan's like obsessed with like living forever. What do you like do to kind of counter, are all these things kind of everything we talked
Yeah.
about on this podcast because you are scared of dying young, really? Or
No, I'm not really scared of dying young, but I
I'm
do want to.
teasing you.
Yeah, I know. I do want to maximize the amount of time that I get to spend on this earth healthy, so I
Yeah.
can see my kids grow up and maybe their kids grow up.
Right.
I mean, that would be amazing.
I tease you because
I know, I know. But I'll tell you that I'll give you another great hint.
Yeah.
Another test that you can do.
Okay, good. All these tests, people are going to be
Yeah,
like over schooled. I love it. Okay.
What I love about this test is that it really gives you a marker to tell you how you're doing overall with all of your wellness habits. Okay, so it's like an overall marker, a big picture marker, a big picture scorecard, and it's your telomere length. Have you heard of this?
You mentioned this to me, but I don't say it. I have heard of it, but I don't know the details. So please talk about it.
So your telomeres are the end caps of your DNA, and they get shorter as your cells divide more and more. Okay, and people that
This is why NAD is good, right?
No, NAD is
Sorry,
really.
sorry, I'm jumping.
NAD, we don't know if it affects your telomere length or not, but
Oh.
it does affect a lot of things, energy levels and mitochondrial strength. But anyhow, so telomere length is increased with all of the healthy habits we're talking about, having good hormone health, sleeping, having good nutrition, making sure that you get exercise on a regular basis. All these things that we talked about, they will increase your telomere length. So you can either go to Next Health or you can get it online. A company called Telo Years, which was founded by Elizabeth Blackburn, who discovered telomerase and the whole telomere thing. She won a Nobel Prize for it.
Oh, wow.
You can go online, you send in a sample, and then they will tell you what your telomere length is. And they will say, this is your telomere length compared to everyone else in your age group. And then if your telomere length is lower than the other people in your age group, then you have some work to do. If it's higher, you're doing good
Right.
on all your different routines and habits.
So if it tells you that it's lower, so all these things we're talking about can actually enhance your telomere. Really?
Yeah. So the beginning of every year, January 1st, around that time period, I get a telomere length done. I've been doing it for a few years now. And I can see how I'm doing compared to other.
How are you doing compared to other people who are 29? I'm kidding.
I'm doing pretty good.
Are you doing pretty good? Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you take it? Like, so tell me, you go to this website, telomere.
Telo Years.
Telo year.
TELOYEARS.com. And you send in, I think it's like a little blood spot sample. I haven't done their testing.
Do you do it at Next Health?
Yeah, because I do it at Next Health, and so we just take a blood sample and we send that in.
Can I go to? I'm telling you, can I go tomorrow to get all this stuff done at Next Health? I'm serious.
course, you're my guest.
I know. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
So you can do it at Next Health. Can you, if you went to your doctor, someone who doesn't have a Next Health, can they do that kind of test?
Still,
no.
Very few doctors know how to get this test or where to get it from, or
So they have to go online. They taking a blood. How would you do that? Like prick your finger?
Yeah, like a little finger prick, or I think they might even do it with a cheek swab. But I think it is a finger prick, now that I remember correctly. Like I said, I haven't used that test
for a
years.
while.
But whatever it is, it's easy, and you just send it in, and
Right.
in a month you get your results back.
Wow. You know what I think, and you know what I think you should do? I mean, I'm serious. You should, like I said, I know you said you're doing this online program to teach people, but I wish you were like a virtual doctor for people. Because seriously, because like, again, I'm just like praising you because
Thank you.
you're so knowledgeable on like so many levels. It's unbelievable. Like you have like such a, you're so determined and to learn and to know. It's amazing. Like there's never been one thing I've ever asked you and you're like, I don't know about that. Let me go find out. Like you seriously have like, not just a little bit about a lot of things, a lot about a lot of things. No, it's amazing.
Thank you.
I know
I
I'm
appreciate
blushing.
that.
You don't like to talk. You're very shy and I know you have a lot of humility, but still, I'm just telling you, it's amazing. I don't know how much time we have. Are we good or, okay, I got to wrap you up because I
Yeah.
know you got to go to a meeting.
I have to go do a procedure.
Oh, a procedure.
A
Oh,
procedure,
right. Because you
yes.
still even do plastic surgery like once a week.
No, I'm not doing plastic surgery. I'm
Okay.
actually using hormone pellets on a
Oh,
client.
excuse me.
And this is great because a great way to replace your hormones with pellet therapy is we put a small pellet underneath your skin so you don't have to inject yourself all the time.
You're doing that?
I'm doing that on a
Yeah, I'm
client.
saying doing that
Yes,
client.
yes. Oh, we do hundreds of them. That people love it because it's just so easy.
Okay, I'm making an appointment. I'm seriously, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to talk about this. First of all, okay, not even first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. You were seriously like just a wealth of information. Will you come on again?
Of course.
And like we can like delve deeper into all the different parts of this wellness wheel.
I love that. Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. Let's do it.
How do people find you?
I'm on Instagram at healthhackermd. That's my Instagram handle. You can find me at Next Health at next-health.com. Those are the two best ways, probably.
Yeah, probably, right? Well, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Bye.